to Thanks for Stopping By. So a couple things I want to address right off the bat. First off, I know that this is only episode 2 and it's taken I think a little over a month to come out. So I apologize for that. Life's just been very hectic lately. I'm going to be starting a new job soon, actually. I'm going to be, for those of you who don't know, currently I work in the field of supportive, in-home supportive care for adults with disabilities. I've been working in the field for going on 5 years now. And one thing I always really wanted to do was work in the school district as a paraeducator, and thankfully, I have been offered a position with the district that I used to go to school in, actually. So I'm going to be working as a paraeducator, helping kids with special needs in the classroom and things like that. So I'm super excited. But it has been a very busy and hectic process getting that all together and stuff like that. So that's one reason. Another thing I wanted to bring up is actually about the first episode. When I started this podcast, originally, for those of you who don't know, it was never a solo podcast at first. I had a co-host, and unfortunately things didn't work out. So the format changed. But because it wasn't a solo podcast at first, I'd never done one by myself. I did a creepypasta reading kind of comedy video a long time ago on my horror channel, Around the Campfire, which you can go check out on YouTube. But other than that, I don't think I'd ever done a full solo episode, I guess. And so that was really scary. Because usually, most content that I've made in the past, I have either a topic and editing behind it, and it's like a full video, or for podcasts, I have a co-host to sort of feed off of and talk to and have that dynamic. But because it was just me, I was pretty nervous to do it, even though I had a lot of fun. One thing I noticed going back and listening and editing it is I think I said enough F words to last me the rest of my life. I listened to that and could not believe how much that I was swearing. It was honestly kind of absurd. So for anyone, if you did notice that and had a problem with it, I apologize. I was very nervous, and it was just kind of, sometimes cursing is just a way of keeping me on track, because I'm just not paying attention to what I'm saying. But I do want to say I'm going to try better. I'm not saying this is going to be like some PG podcast where I'm not going to curse, but just not so excessively. I think it was borderline, it was just not okay. It was just kind of absurd. But I wanted to bring that to attention because I thought it was something that I found kind of funny, but also something that I wanted people to know, that's not always how I talk. I was just very nervous and kind of rambling. But yeah, with that being said, welcome back to Thanks for Stopping By. I'm super glad to be recording again. I don't want to give dates on or an upload schedule because I know I won't keep up to it just because of how my life is right now. But I will say I do want to start uploading more regularly, and just get back into my flow of not only creating this podcast but also just creating stuff in general. But the podcast being something I can release more frequently, because it not that it doesn't take work, but it takes less work than a big video essay, which is something I am planning on doing. I want to do ones on this channel, the Salem Ellison channel, and then also my horror channel. Obviously, I have a couple of videos planned surrounding some topics that I'm really excited to talk about. So those are things that to look out for, and kind of keep an eye out for, things I'm working on. Um, One thing I did want to talk about, because a couple of examples have been happening recently about this, and it's kind of grossing me out a bit. Um, for those of you who don't know, and some of you do, I'm a professional wrestler, or an indie wrestler, as you'd call it. I love wrestling. I love performing. It's one of my favorite things in the world. Going out there and putting on a show and entertaining people, and just letting people leave their lives at home for 8 to 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes, and just get, like, lay everything in the background, and just for this show they can just get invested and be involved and see these characters and see these storylines come to life right in front of them. And it's something that I love to do. I'll always love to do. But one thing that makes me really sad is, to me personally, and also some stuff I've seen online recently, there has been a lot of transphobia and general bigotry in the wrestling community. And so I just wanted to talk about that real quick and bring a couple examples. The first is something that happened to me. And it's, I'm a queer person. I'm a pre-transition trans woman who a lot of the fans knew me as a kid or whatever the fuck, and know who my dad is, and the ugly boys or whatever the fuck people want to say. But at the end of the day, whatever you knew me as from the past, and you saw my first match as fucking Cujo, whatever the whatever, and I used to come out and do the Soldier Boy and haha, so cute and funny. That's all fine, and I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad you got to be a part of that time. But that is not who I am. I am a woman. I am a valid woman. I am very gay. And no matter what, no matter how you identify sexually, gender-wise, whatever, wrestling is for everyone. And let me say it louder for the people in the back. Wrestling is for everyone. And it makes me so sad and so sick when people like me or myself or other queer performers go out there and lay their health and life and safety on the line week by week to entertain these people and pour their heart and soul into what we do and give so much love and care and respect for the business, and they go out there and they're berated by some fucking nobody in the front row who wants to act like now they're part of the show. And I've gotten it before, at random shows, especially, I'll go to, a lot of them happen at, like, we go to these beer festivals or taco fests where there's a lot of alcohol, and people see a big brown girl who, looks more masculine, and, I hear a couple of the dreaded F words thrown from the, from the crowd. And it sucks, but this instance particularly bothered me because it was in a place that I consider home. For those of you who don't know, my dad, the Big Ugly, long time ago ran a company called Supreme Pro Wrestling. And he ran it for God knows how long. And he was, that's how I broke into the business at my first match when I was 9 years old at SPW. It's a place I've called home. And even though he's left, his students Samurai and Scoot Robertson have taken over the business and continued to run it and keep that legacy going, and allowed me to stay there and still have it as a place I can call home. And I love performing, and they've accepted me, and they've been so kind. They've used my pronouns, when I come to the ring. They're just so cool. I recently changed my wrestling name to match more of my pronouns and how I identify, and immediately the transition was so amazing. They all were just so on board, and it was so cool to have that support. And I'm so excited to come to the ring and finally hear my name and pronouns said correctly. And I've got this new look and new character that I'm going for, and I'm so excited. And I come out, I'm doing my entrance, I'm using my fucking Poppy song, which is such an awesome song to come out to, and I'm so excited. And I'm feeling myself, and all this stuff. And then I get in the ring, and they announce me, and apparently these two fucking idiots in the front row decided it was a good idea to question my gender out loud as they could, and just make a big scene about it, and berate me because I now use she, her pronouns. And apparently that's so fucking asinine to them, that they, put down their fucking cheese sticks for a second, finally, and decided to talk shit. And that shit is so fucking gross. And I want to say, for sure, you are lucky that I respect SPW enough that I didn't come out there and whoop your ass like a lot of queer performers would do. But B, it's so gross because there are a lot of queer people who attend these shows. Pro wrestling is somewhere where it is weirdly deeply rooted in the queer community, especially places like Hood Slam. It's a place that a lot of queer people can call home and call a family is pro wrestling. And so it just makes me so sad that this place I feel so comfortable in, I was harassed like that. It just felt really gross, not only for me but for other people. There, some people I know who are queer, who I'm friends with online, were sitting directly behind these people, and it just makes me so sad. Not even for my sake, but people in the crowd, who are also queer, who maybe don't have the tough skin that I do, or they're not performers. They're not here to be berated or whatever the fuck people think it's okay to talk to performers like. So for that, I just wanted to say, go fuck yourself, honestly. It's such gross behavior, and that shit's just has no place in what we do. It's just such shitty behavior, and it makes me so sad, and it just grosses me out that some people think that's acceptable to do anywhere, let alone in a place that has so many amazing and talented queer performers and queer fans, that anyone would think that is a place to bring that. And so beyond that, I wanted to bring that up because it definitely bothered me. But beyond that, the night I'm recording this is the night that AEW, All Elite Wrestling, is also having their pay-per-view Revolution, I believe it's called. And I'm going to go watch it. Me, the family, and the girlfriend are going to all go watch it. It's going to be cool. It's going to be a great time. But I wanted to bring up a lot that's been going on recently with the AEW women's champion Nyla Rose, who happens to be trans. And it's so sad because AEW, no matter what you think of it, it is one thing I've always liked about it is that I'm getting to see a lot of performers that I've never really heard of. Some of them I have, obviously, Cody and the Bucks and Kenny. I know we all know who they are. But there's a lot of performers who either I didn't know of, or who I did know like personally or have met that, I never thought would be on like national TV, but they're getting, Dr. Luther's a perfect example of this guy who I've always thought was an amazing, talented performer, and yet I never thought he got his, I know he's huge in Japan and stuff, but I never thought he got his like mainstream success that he deserved. I always thought like this guy's perfect for TV. When I was a kid, I remember walking up to my dad and reciting the infamous mule kick promo that he cut, the spit shine 'em up Gabe promo, and I always thought like, man, this guy's made for TV. Why is he not on TV? And now he is, and he's on national TV in front of millions of people, and that's something I've always thought was really cool. Is Cody wants to find these sort of hand-picked indie talents that you wouldn't necessarily hear of or think would go to the WWE and show the world that they have this talent. And Nyla Rose is certainly someone who I really didn't know of before AEW. I recently listened to her episode of Talk is Jericho, and she talked about she's done some work in Japan, stuff like that. But again, I never heard of her in any mainstream light here in the States. And, when I found out she was trans, I thought that was so cool, because I was like, man, this girl who is, she's in the community, she's a trans person, is on TV, and she's like, she can be a huge idol and inspiration for a lot of people like me. She's a bigger woman, and she's strong, and she's part of the queer community. She's bi. It's just so cool to have that representation. And then, now she's the women's champion, and I was so excited when I heard that, because I thought she should have won the belt in October or whenever they challenged for it, and she lost it to the other girl, but now she's finally got it. Fuck yeah, there's a trans champion. That's so awesome. This woman is like such an inspiration, and I'm like so proud to be a part of a community and finally have some representation in the media that I personally love to watch and am a part of, And I go online, and 90% of it is just fucking transphobic bullshit and just awful, gross, like just all over the place, questioning the validity of this. First of all, fucking, it's entertainment. It's not fucking, it's a fucking dumb. It's such a stupid argument about disadvantage, whatever bullshit. And a point she actually brings up, which I love this point that she brought up, is whenever there's an intergender match, nobody questions. Everybody loves it. And there's no question about who's going to win, who, how, whatever. What's her name? Fucking Tessa, whatever. Beat Brian Cage or whatever the fuck, or almost did. And she beat the fucking other guy, Sammy Callahan, I think his name is, and won the fucking world title. And everybody shit about it online and fucking freaked out about it. And, everyone's so accepting and cool of that. Oh my God, it's so great. But because Nyla Rose is trans, all of a sudden there's this unfair advantage and she's fucking who, how, whatever. It's ridiculous. It's so fucking stupid. It's honestly sick, and it's gross, and it's so gross that people are using the form of media that I love to push their bigotry and their fucking hate, because wrestling is such an amazing thing. It's something that I love so much, and it's something that, unfortunately gets soured by people like that, by people who use it as an outlet of hate, and it's just so sad, because this girl who has pushed through so much, going through her transition while coming up in the wrestling world, is something that I very much relate to. It's something I'm going through now as a pre-transition trans woman, finding myself in the wrestling world and pushing through that barrier and going through my transition while trying to rise in the indies and become a successful wrestler. and it's something she did, and she's done it, and she's in front of thousands of people, you know, at millions at home watching, and is a mainstream, you know, talent, and now is the world women's champion of this huge company who's competing with the WWE, and it's being like, people are trying to like take it away from her, and that's so fucking awful that there are genuinely human beings in this world who would want nothing more than to take that away from her and rob her of that. And I'm so happy and so proud of her specifically for not giving into it, because I know it hurts. You know, a lot of queer performers feel this every night we go out there. It shit fucking sucks, and there's always going to be people like that, but she's pushing through, and she's showing the world, like, fuck you, I am me, and I'm here to do what I love to do. She's fucking in there killing it, and I know she's going to go out there and kill it tonight. And I'm just like super proud to have someone like that who is just so unabashedly themselves. And you know, I hope I get to meet her and work her one day. I think that'd be fucking awesome. But even if I get to meet her, I just want her to know how huge of an inspiration it is to have that representation and have someone who is just so proud of themselves, because she deserves that. And anyone trying to take that away from her is fucking bullshit, you know, and gross. And if you really genuinely believe the things you say, then just turn it off and don't watch and don't show up, because we aren't here, you know, for that shit. We're here to entertain people. And if you have a problem with who we are, find another show. You know, you can go down to the fucking bingo hall with the fucking, you know, some racist promoter in front of 9 people. Do that show, because we're here to entertain the real fans. People who don't give a fuck how we identify, who we are, who we love, what we love to do. All they care about is we go out there and put on a fucking show every night. And that's exactly what we want to do. So that's just something I has really been eating away at me. You know, and it makes me so sick. You know, especially being someone who is trans, but also is in a close community with a lot of trans and queer performers. There's a lot of queer performers in NorCal. You know, we're having Pride shows, you know, upcoming this June, and I'm like super excited to be a part of a bunch of them. You know, and we have such amazing queer performers, you know, people like, you know, Dark Chic. She runs a fucking company, and not only just a company, but one of the biggest companies in the area. You know, Hood Slam's huge. You know, it's such a cool fucking place. I remember the first one I went to was Fearless last year. It was my first. I was like such a baby queer. I was like just freshly out, and I was like so excited to go and see all the, you know, and it was such a fun. And I didn't know what to expect. And man, what a fucking show! You know, just everyone was so awesome, and just, you know, hearing. There's a clip that you can find it on YouTube, but it's one of the Femmed Outs, I believe. But it's AJ Kirsch, and he's dressed up as Tinkerbell, and he gives the speech before Hood Slam. You know, they do it before every Hood Slam, but you know what? Hold on, let me look it up. We're gonna listen to this shit, because this is such a fucking like dope thing to me, that there's a company who would open their show like this. All right, here it is.
Now then, normally at this point, I would kick off the show, but before I do that, I've got something to say. In a few moments, I'm going to tell you to check your fucks at the door. A phrase I use to launch into every Hood Slam. Now when I tell you to check your fucks at the door, I'm talking about all that shit in your personal life and all the shit happening out there, because God knows there is some shit happening out there. Those are the fucks I am telling you to check. Because here at motherfucking Hood Slam, we don't care. We don't care what color you are. We don't care where you came from. We don't care where you come home. We don't care who you pray to. We don't care if you pray at all. We don't care how you identify. We don't care who you like to fuck. We don't care what you have between your legs. All we care about is that you came out to have a good fucking time. Holy shit! Oakland, California! We are gonna have a good fucking time tonight! We're here for two reasons. To have a good time and to give a fuck. And guess what? We're fresh out of fucks. This is real! 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 Do you feel that? Party people, I said, do you fucking feel that? You know what that feeling is? That feeling is the shit about to hit the fans. Oakland, California. It's the first Friday of the month, so check your butts at the door. Because this is the accidental phenomenon. This is real. This is, say it with me, bitches, motherfucking pussy.
So yeah, like what a fucking opening. I like sometimes sometimes like legitimately I'll listen to that to like get hyped up for like a fucking workout or like a match or something, cuz it's just the amount of harassment and bullshit that I face, not only in wrestling but just on a daily life for being who I am and just literally existing. It's little shit like that makes me realize that I will always have a place I can call home. I will always have a community of people who care about me and don't give a fuck how I choose to live my life. All they care about is that I'm choosing to live it. And that's so fucking awesome to me. That in the community that in the business that I love to be in, I know that no matter what, there will always be at least one group of people who love me for me. And that's why I love pro wrestling. And yes, there are awful people in the business. It happens. There are bigots in the fucking business, and there's nothing we can do to change that. You know, they're always going to be there because of this old school whatever the fuck mentality, and that's fine. You know, have fun running your fucking show in front of 20 people in your little warehouse. But people like that, who accept people for who they are the people that are going to make it. Because not only just in the wrestlers, but the fans have a place to call home, have a place they can go where there is no judgment, where there is no, harassment, where there is no questioning, where they can finally just take off the fucking weights, put them down, and breathe. And that is so amazing. So I just wanted to mention that because I think that's so important in what we do. For those of you who are openly queer or who are still haven't came out yet, I just want to say that you will always have people who love you and care about you. And, no matter how you choose to live your life, I hope you live it to the fullest, because for the first time in my life, I am. And it feels so awesome. It feels so great. And I hope no matter what the situation, one day you get to feel that too, and really get to find yourself and live the life as who you are. And for everyone who's given me the opportunity, I want to tell you that you are appreciated. Because this is something that I love to do. And I never, would want to do anything else. I think I was put here to entertain and create and perform, and that's exactly what I'm going to continue to do. But beyond all that very heavy shit, I want to say thank you guys so much for listening. I'm sorry that the uploads take so long. But I'm hoping to get into more of a creative routine and sort of, start releasing content more frequently, especially this podcast, and hopefully start getting some guests. I have some guests lined up, so hopefully we can start doing that, do some interviews, and get on some people that I think are really cool, man, and just kind of get some names out there and have some cool conversations for you guys to listen to. But before I sign off, I do want to plug a couple things. First, I'll plug my social media, which will also be in the description. You can find me at Instagram at The Teaches of Peaches 71, all lowercase, no spaces. You can find me on Twitter at, what is my fucking Twitter? Let me look up my fucking Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Papa_Squat. That is capital PAPA _ SKWAT. Go give my Twitter some love, because every couple months I tweet a bunch of funny tweets right in a row and then never post again for like 3 months. But hey, it's kind of like my YouTube channel. A couple other things I want to plug. If you love horror content and spooky stuff, or also genuine spooky stuff, or more just like video essays or reviews, any kind of spooky stuff in general, go check out my horror channel, Around the Campfire, on YouTube. It's a little barren right now. If you watch my Grudge review, which has awful audio, and I apologize, I'm still getting back in the groove. But if you watch my Grudge video at the beginning, I sort of explained why I had to take down a lot of the content from that channel, but I'm working on rebuilding it and putting out some cooler content. And then last thing is, we got a couple of shows coming up that I want to plug. March 21st at the Colonial Theater right here in Sacramento, California. Pro Wrestling Alliance will be live at the Colonial Theater. Again, that's March 21st at the Colonial Theater, and I'm so excited for that show, you guys. It's going to be a huge one. I'm really excited to be back at the Colonial Theater for my dad. I've worked at the Colonial Theater a handful of times for companies like TWF and VF3, and I always love working there, but to be there for the Big Ugly, it's just such a full circle moment for me, because we used to run there forever and a half ago, so it's cool to finally be there for PWA and get a show there. We also have a show. We're back in Vacaville, April 25th, back at the Theater DeVille for PWA, so keep an eye out for that one. But tickets for the Colonial Theater on March 21st are live on Eventbrite right now. You can go to our Facebook page at PWA, Pro Wrestling Alliance, on Facebook, and find the Eventbrite link and get your tickets early before the show. And make sure you are there, guys. You are not going to want to miss that one. PWA, man, we've been putting on some big shows. We got even bigger ones coming. I'm super excited. The direction and trajectory PW's got right now. But with that being said, man, that's it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Keep an eye out for more videos, and most importantly, thank you for stopping by.